Hello, good afternoon. This is Pastor Farrow, and I'd like to invite you to our services this weekend. We will be approaching Lent 4 this weekend as we make our way through Lent. We've heard conversations over the last few weeks in our gospel lectionary, some honest conversations between Jesus and those whom he was speaking with. First, we had Nicodemus and Jesus talking in John 3. And Nicodemus was asking Jesus some down-to-earth questions about how in the world can one be born again. And Nick tried to grasp how that could possibly be. And Jesus tells us how that God makes that happen out of his love for us through Jesus Christ. And we have those famous scriptures of John 3:16 about how God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, and how that God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the whole world would be saved. Last week, we listened to Jesus speaking with the Samaritan woman at the well, and there was that honest conversation about cultural barriers often getting in the way, preventing relationships in this world. But God did not allow any cultural barriers to be in the way when God sent God's Son, Jesus, to us. And so Jesus speaks to the Samaritan woman and offers her life flowing up from the springs of God and right out of that river of life. And now this week we have the Pharisees who will be examining this man who has been born, who is born blind, and there's all these questions that the Pharisees have, and it has to do with sin, and it has to do with the family, and it has to do a lot more with who in the world has the authority to heal someone. They're really pressing in on Jesus and giving him a hard time. They can't quite grasp, much like Nicodemus, with his calculator out trying to figure out how in the world somebody's going to be born again, possibly. Much like the Samaritan woman who said, whoa, wait a minute, culturally we're not supposed to be interacting here. There's something wrong here. Exactly who are you asking me for water? And we have these folks, these Pharisees, in all of these cases, we have people who are grasping and trying to understand the reality of the situation, the miraculous situation of God being present in our everyday lives. And so here we have these folks who are trying to grasp the situation. They want it in their control. I think that pretty much sums up the human condition, doesn't it? In our sinful states, we want control. And it all started back in the Garden of Eden with our ancestors, and we carry on that sinful nature, and we want control. I was reminded of this very thing about control and wanting it our way, and as opposed to listening to God and following God each step of the way. I was reminded by the readings. Today is Wednesday, actually, that I'm recording this. The daily reading today was from Jeremiah 2. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, number one, the fountain of living water, and dug out cisterns for themselves, cracked cisterns that can hold no water. All I can think of, and actually the scripture is designed to look back at Sunday's task. I can't say that word today. Text. It's designed to look back and reflect on that fountain of living water that we heard about with the Samaritan woman. So my people have forsaken me, and they've dug their own cisterns out. Instead of pulling from the resources of the ever-flowing, gushing water of God in our lives, often we do try to dig our own wells. And boy, I'll tell you, we keep digging and digging. We get ourselves deeper and deeper, the old saying goes. Absolutely. We keep digging that hole. And we sing that old song, I did it my way. and we don't want God's control. So I'd like you to examine this week in preparation for Sunday's sermon exactly what it takes to surrender ourselves to God, what that means, and to trust God to lead us and guide us on the way. We have the Hammer family visiting with us from East Petersburg, and they just came back fresh from Tanzania, where they spent some months over the last year or so. They've been over there, and there's quite a testimony that they have to tell about how that sometimes the best laid plans, those plans that we have all written out and everything and planned up, how that often God is leading us in a little different direction. And I'm really excited to hear Angie Hammer deliver the sermon Saturday and Sunday, and to hear how it is that God worked in their lives over the last year, how that they didn't do it their way, they did it God's way, and how that God blessed them for taking that opportunity to sit with the people of Tanzania in a different way than they had envisioned when they first went. God be with you as you prepare your hearts for this weekend. If you aren't able to be here, God be with you. I hope that you are able to read through the worship bulletin and worship with us in spirit wherever you are. And I pray, my prayer for you is that you seek God's guidance in your life, and that you know that God is with you in each and every step of the way. God bless you.